Some good news today. DICE is handing out free DLC for Battlefield 1 and for Battlefield 4, keeping every Battlefield fan happy. The road to Battlefield 2018 has now started, and there's nothing sweeter than picking up great content for absolutely nothing. You may remember during the build-up to Battlefield 1's reveal, and I think a little bit beyond that as well, DICE handed out the previous game's DLC for free every couple of weeks or so. Battlefield 4's China Rising, Second Assault, Naval Strike, Dragon's Teeth, and Final Stand all went up on the Origin, Xbox One and PS4 stores for free, so any player could pick them up if they hadn't already done so. As with every Battlefield game that uses the Premium Pass, the older the game gets, the further into its life cycle it gets, the less players it has, so to rejuvenate that player base during the months prior to the next big game in the franchise being released, DICE has started handing out previously paid DLC for free, so anybody can start playing. DICE has already been doing this for Battlefield 1 anyway, just on a smaller scale. Nivelle Nights, Prix d'État and most recently Rupture, all maps from the French DLC, They Shall Not Pass, have been handed out for free for the entire player base of Battlefield 1, but today DICE has gone one step further and released the entire French DLC free of charge across the PS4, PC and Xbox One. For the next couple of weeks, you can go into the store on PS4, PC, and Xbox One and claim the DLC as your own if you don't already own it. It will then be activated on your account forever, and you can play with any of that content whenever you like. The deal only lasts for a couple of weeks. After that, it will go back to a paid DLC, but if you claim it whilst it's free, this is free DLC. At the same time, if Battlefield 1 isn't your flavour, then Battlefield 4 is also having some free DLC handed out as well. The Dragon's Teeth DLC, arguably the best of the 5, is now free for any player to claim. This gives you access to 4 maps, new weapons, the Chainlink game mode, and even more. Dragon's Teeth is a heavily urban set DLC with quite a lot of focus on the Chinese faction in the game, and it was probably my favourite DLC from Battlefield 4. I don't think then it's too much to assume that soon we will see DICE release the rest of Battlefield 1 DLC for free over the course of the next few months, as we get closer and closer to that reveal of Battlefield 2018. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this DLC handout last time, back in 2016, I forgot the date there for a minute, that signalled the start of the road to Battlefield 1. Each of the 5 DLCs for Battlefield 4 and each of the 4 DLCs for Battlefield Hardline were handed out every couple of weeks for players to claim, and that would boost the player numbers in that DLC and on those servers for a short while. Now, some people might be complaining and moaning down in the comments that there was then no reason for them to buy premium for Battlefield 1, and for Battlefield 4 for that matter, if now all of the DLCs are being given away for free. And I totally understand that. You've bought something and now it's being handed out for free, but if you look at it in any other industry, this is just like a sale. If you buy a brand new television the day it comes out, you're going to pay full whack for it. A few months down the line, I guarantee you that same store will have a sale on that television, and it will cost you much less than what you paid for it in the beginning. I do understand that having paid for the Battlefield 1 DLCs, maybe a premium pass or an individual DLC, and then it being given away for free, other people not paying anything at all, is probably quite aggravating, but you can look at it in a different light. Now you have more people populating DLC servers and playing content that might not always be in the standard rotation. It's no secret that the further Battlefield games go through their life cycle, the less players there are playing the game, so with DLCs being handed out at this late stage, it just helps to rejuvenate the player base a little bit and get more people playing that older content. Specifically, looking at They Shall Not Pass being the first free DLC for Battlefield 1, I don't think DICE could have started with a better DLC. To me, this was the most complete offering of all of the DLCs produced for the game, and the one that really truly matched the original feeling that DICE portrayed for it when they started hyping it up before they released it. The Russian DLC, that simply took too long to arrive and really should have been split into two sections. A World War I segment in June 2017, just a few months after the French DLC, and then a Civil War smaller segment in September 2017, a little bit later down the line, and bridging the gap between the Russian DLC and Turning Tides. But instead, we had to wait until September for everything to arrive. And yes, it was a huge DLC, but I think the impact of the DLC was watered down because of the amount of content it actually held. There was no room for each individual piece of it to shine on its own. The Turning Tides DLC, that was a really good DLC as well. I really enjoyed that DLC, but in my opinion, it didn't need to be split in half, just as much as the Russian DLC did need to be split in half. Turning Tides matched They Shall Not Pass in terms of content levels, and I think by that point in the game's life, players wanted the content there and then, rather than having to wait over Christmas for the second half of the DLC to arrive. A similar situation to the Russian DLC. Players wanted more content quicker, the Russian DLC didn't deliver that. Turning Tides did, but it only delivered half the content in a much shorter timescale, so I think players were a little bit confused by what DICE was actually doing with their DLC schedule. And then of course we have the Apocalypse DLC, which was broken when it launched, and had some very strange decisions made surrounding it. Shoehorning Conquest Assault onto maps the mode didn't suit, an aerial-only game mode that only a very small fraction of the player base would actually play, taking up 2 of the 5 maps of the total DLC, and a weapon selection that really didn't match the description of unique and brutal are just a few of those decisions. They Shall Not Pass, however, I think represented a true DLC for Battlefield 1. It heavily expanded on what the base game offered. It introduced the French army with 4 well-designed and implemented maps. It included the Frontlines game mode that was so popular, it was then added to nearly all of the base game maps for Battlefield 1, and I think it offered the most collected and themed set of weapons of any of the DLCs released. If you don't have the French DLC yet, well, now is the time to go and download it. Check your platform store, PS4, Xbox One or PC, and get it activated on your account before time runs out and the DLC goes back to being a paid offering. There's still no further word on Battlefield 2018 yet, but this last time around for Battlefield 1, free DLCs being handed out did signal the start of the hype train for the next Battlefield game, so I'm going to assume this is exactly what's happening this time around. Keep your eyes on my channel for future videos, and the moment we do get any news about Battlefield 2018, I will be posting a video. Make sure you have notifications switched on, click that bell next to subscribe, and make sure they are on so you don't miss any videos when I post them. But thanks very much for watching today, and until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.